There's an old Maynard saying that where the mill goes, so goes Maynard. But why? How did the town eventually become a mono industry? The mill was built around the existing community of Assabet Village and not vice versa. In 1845, business partners Amory Maynard and William H. Knight purchased the rights to 109 acres of land and water. Local construction magnate Artemus Whitney oversaw the construction of the Ben Smith Dam as well as the mill pond. The more water that was reserved by the dam each night, the more power that could be produced the next day. By 1847, the first wooden building in the new mill complex was up and running, producing wool goods like carpets and yarn. The wool was locally sourced, but the rapid growth of the mill catalyzed the building of railroad lines running directly to and from the mill, as well as the construction of Main Street in order to facilitate the importing and exporting of both raw materials and finished goods. The mill incorporated as the Assabet Manufacturing Company in 1849, but unfortunately failed in 1861. The next chapter of the mill story begins in 1862, when the Civil War was raging and tearing the country apart. The company was reincorporated in 1862 as the Assabet Manufacturing Company, with a man by the name of Thomas A. Goddard acting as the president of the company. The AMC replaced Amory Maynard's original wooden building with a brand new brick building to make room for their manufacturing. They were currently producing blankets and other woolen goods for the Union Army, a major contributor to the AMC's success. The mill saw another boom in the postbellum period, with protective tariffs protecting American manufacturing. By 1899, the AMC operated the largest woolen mill in the United States. As a testament to its growth, the mill's influence on society reached beyond the economy. The mill owners were active philanthropists, donating land to create the Union Congregational Church in 1853. The company became the largest developer of housing in town, all on mill-owned land. On Parker Street alone, there were 206 single-family homes and duplexes by 1901. The neighborhood, now known as the Presidentials, was originally created for employees of the mill. These houses were rented to employees for the low price of $3 to $6 a month. Though this may sound like a positive development, some historians have argued that it gave the mill owners more control over their employees' lives. Amory Maynard especially was rigid when it came to the morality of employees, and it can be argued that building the Union Congregational Church was a way to keep an eye on the social order of the community. If an employee behaved out of line, they couldn't just lose their job, they could also lose their house. This was particularly devastating, as by 1889, there are accounts of mill workers making anywhere from 5 cents to 16 cents an hour. While the mill workers came home from their hazardous job, safe from any of the numerous accidents they could have faced, to their homes with no sewage or running water, the Maynard family came back to their mansions on Dartmouth Street. Even so, the mill attracted immigrants from many different European nations. Some of the largest contingents included the Finnish, the Russians, and the Polish. Sometimes, the bosses at the mill used the contentious relations between the ethnic groups to break strikes, because unionization was crucial in the heyday of the AMC. Skilled laborers, like weavers and spinners, unionized in the days of Amory Maynard, but by 1916, most of the independent local unions had joined the National American Federation of Labor. Amory had stepped down as agent of the mill in 1885, leaving his son Lorenzo to take over his position. However, the boom time of the AMC was soon to come to an end, as the mill failed in 1898, partially due to the removal of the protective tariffs that had allowed the mill to reopen back in the 1860s. The American Woolen Company, an interstate conglomerate, purchased the mill property in 1899, but the Great Depression eventually forced the mill to another close in 1931. The military contracted the mill to manufacture blankets and winter cloaks for soldiers during World War II, briefly reviving the mill, and similar contracts persisted throughout the Korean War. But despite all this, the growing demand for synthetic fabric and the increasing power of Southern manufacturers led to the final downfall of the mill in 1950. For years, the mill remained quiet, a stark contrast to the pervasive presence of manufacturing in the town during the heyday of the AWC. Change would soon come in 1953 when Maynard Industries Incorporated purchased the mill complex for $200,000, or what would be $1.2 million today. It rented out office space to various companies, including the Beacon Publishing Company, Raytheon, and a small company created by MIT graduate Kenneth Olson called Digital. When you think of a microcomputer, you probably think of a cell phone. However, computers back in the 1950s were so large that they would often take up entire rooms. Digital Equipment Company was in the business of producing what was considered a microcomputer back in their time, and the smaller size made them more affordable. Digital was started by renting out just over 8,600 square feet on the second floor of building number 12, but it really broke through the market with its PDP computer series, standing for Program Data Processors. The PDP-8 started at $18,500, which was considered affordable at that time. As the PDP computers became more popular with engineers, physicists, and data scientists, Maynard was declared the microcomputer capital of the world. By 1990, Maynard had become the world headquarters of the DEC, which raked in a healthy $14 billion annually. The company had purchased the entire mill in 1974 and at one point employed between 33% and 50% of all adults in Maynard. Like it or not, Maynard had become another mono industry. As DEC grew and grew, the company had to find more office space. It gradually relocated its employees until the mill housed just the corporate offices, and by 1993, none at all. Digital had left Maynard, leaving the mill vacant once again. The complex changed hands a few times in the following years. First, it was sold to Franklin Life Care Corporation, then to Wellesley Rosewood Capital, which renamed the complex to Clock Tower Place. Finally, Artemis Real Estate Partners purchased the complex in 2015 under the heading we know today as Mullin, Maine. Businesses still operate out of Mullin, Maine today, from a child care center to the headquarters of Powell Flutes, a world-renowned creator of high-end flutes for musicians. The town has followed the mill complex's various up and downs throughout the years. Even through all of the hardships, the mill has stood as a symbol of resilience. And so has the town. Today, those old brick buildings are a testament to the spirit of Maynard.